What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today we are working on Big Bertha, the F-150 over here, and boy, do we have an exciting install for y'all. Yes, we will be installing a cold air intake by F-150 filters. Got this off of AmericanTrucks.com. Obviously replacing the OEM shitty plastic, whatever thingamajigger here. Gonna clean it up, look a lot nicer, and kind of similar to the WRX actually, going to have a cleanable filter and not a paper replacing filter, if that makes sense. So before I do anything, I want to go ahead and get this thing unboxed, and then from there, we will start tearing apart the engine bay. I would think it'll be pretty easy, but I guess time will tell. So without further ado, let's get right into it. As y'all can see there, we have quite a few parts here. Obviously, this is going to be the kind of air box, so this is going to sit right about here. I would assume we're going to replace the snorkel here and other components. But all in all, you know, with the engine bay on the F-150, everything seems to be fairly here, right? You're not going to be doing anything too terribly crazy. Probably a couple 10 mils, 8 mils, hose clamps, and should be able to more or less knock it out pretty easy. So what I want to do now is actually determine if I need to assemble this before I throw it in or kind of do it as I go along. Should probably read the instructions. Will I? Maybe, maybe not, but should be easy enough. So let me set y'all down, figure out a course of action, and then we will go from there. Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a big shout out to today's video sponsor, Shine Armor. Shine Armor is an automotive care company that's going to give you the tools to keep your ride in tip-top shape. Today we'll be working on the wheels. So first thing we're going to want to do is make sure those wheels are nice and clean to make sure we have a great adhesion of the ceramic coating to the desired area. Now that we have a nice clean wheel to work with right here, it is now time to apply the graphene ceramic spray. So we are going to do that as such. We'll let that sit for a couple minutes, buff off with the microfiber, and we're done. And just like that, we now have our wheel to a high gloss finish with the added protection that the ceramic coating is going to give you. Super easy, super amazing. If you like what you see here, use code GEARBOX20 at checkout or click the links down in the description below. Thank you to Shine Armor for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get back to it. So right now we have all of the pieces laid out. So essentially it comes in what, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll call it 9 pieces as far as the cover for the actual airbox. Should be fairly straightforward here. Obviously this is going to do something like this. We have the scoop, we have the hardware included. And then what's also cool is it comes with a QR code for the install instructions. So as I mentioned in the last clip, I need to pull this out. Just figured I'd get everything somewhat laid out and get an idea of what's going on. But like I said, I mean, it's a cold air intake. How bad can it be? But this thing is pretty hefty, and it's gonna be cool, and we'll see at the end. But it does have a piece of glass to kind of look down into it. I don't know, kind of hot boy, whatever, as I just throw the install instructions. Anywho, we're going to scan the QR code, look at the instructions, start wrenching on shit, and get this thing knocked out. Step 1 already kind of threw me through a loop, not because it's difficult, but because it is asking you to remove the negative end of the battery terminal here, so disconnecting the battery. Apparently, a part of this install, I guess you're messing with what I would assume are O2 sensors or something like that. But it says it will throw a check engine light if you don't, so here we are. But anyway, step 2 is going to be removing this hose clamp, and I'm assuming removing this piece, which looks like it requires a twist, something like that. Pretty easy. So I'll set y'all down, get some B-roll going, and we'll complete step 2 here in a jiffy. By the way, Ford, thanks for positioning these hose clamps nice and easy. Most people don't, but I appreciate you. Now that we have the stock piece off, so it was like this, now we're like this. Looks like we're gonna have to take out this MAF sensor, or at least that's what I would call it. Now the question is, how in the hell do you do that? Maybe one of these buttons or thingamajiggers? I don't know. So yeah, gonna remove that, and then we are going to go over to the air box. So you're going to unclip all of these puppies, probably get down here, right there, something. Not difficult, other than that one hose clamp, but we're kind of cruising through this. We're maybe 5-10 minutes in, not even. But yeah, get the MAF sensor off, get the air box out, and we'll start reassembling and get her done. All right, guys, so as we are getting this MAF sensor out, what you're going to do, it's gonna be in here like so. You're going to twist counterclockwise, so this way, and then pull out. What I did, because of this, if you see that little O-ring deal right there, what I did, it was, obviously that O-ring was in there, I just got a flathead screwdriver and just lightly pried it off. Once you get it turned, it's pretty simple. Once you just get that leverage. But now that we have this piece removed, we're good. So we're just gonna, no need for that anymore. And then, like I said earlier, got these clips off. Now got this out. And looks like now we might want to get this snorkel out first. So it looks like maybe just 2 interior clips here and then probably an 8mm down there. Pretty simple. Then we'll have more access to the actual air box. But once again, just cruising right along, pretty easy. If you are doing your first mod to anything, I think a cold air intake is the best mixture of very easy, but also you feel super accomplished because you're in the engine bay, you're amongst all of the shit. So anyway, just my little tidbit of information for the day. But let's keep cruising right along. I'm probably just gonna cruise and get all of this shit out to where we can now get to the point of the video where we start installing everything else, and we'll go from there. Now that we have the stock air box out, you can really start to see the vast difference and improvement this is going to, or this rather, is going to be over this. Obviously a huge size difference. I'm about to take the thumbnail right now. It's pretty crazy. That coupled with this massive filter, it's going to not only help the truck perform better, but also sound cooler and just, I don't know, it's fun, it's fun. Next on the list of things to do from the stock air box to the SMB air filter, what we're going to do is remove this rubber bushing and this metal grommet. Sorry, that was god-awful filming. That is going to lay right here, and this will be inside of it. So what you're gonna wanna do is actually take the metal part out first, and then you are going to take out the rubber piece, and then we are going to transfer that over here. So I think the easiest course of action is probably doing something like so, as we get it in there. And then we're going to reach our hand in and somehow, some way, find this piece, and it's going to be oriented like this. Don't do it like this. So I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, so I'm gonna set y'all down. Just wanted to point that out. Pretty easy thing to miss, but I would assume it's pretty important. So let me knock it out, and then we'll probably be throwing this air box in there, if I had to guess. Next, what we're gonna be doing here is starting to assemble the actual air box. So we have this piece right here going to match up like so. And then we have hose clamp L. I did realize that these are actually lettered, lettered and numbered accordingly. I doubt it's like the biggest issue in the world. They all seem to be pretty much the same, but I would assume there are probably some size differences here and there. So we'll get this on, throw the hose clamp on, tighten it down, probably do the same thing all around, and then, yeah, then we'll be throwing it in. Pardon the interruption. So let's, I'm gonna get both sides on right now, pretty self-explanatory, and then we'll get to the portion of actually throwing her in. Now that we have all of the couplers and hose clamps attached, or at least loosely attached, it's time to throw everything back in. So here's kind of the final product here, and then same thing over here. Now, when I was positioning this, if you remember back earlier in the video, I had trouble getting to the hose clamps right here. So what I did was just kind of bring it over here and position it so that I know it will be pretty damn easy. And that worked, right? So what we're going to do with the beginning of the reinstallation process is we're going to throw this in right here, push it down into this right here, and then we're gonna get the 13 mil back into the actual frame of the truck. That will allow us to really start piecing everything together. Once we get that in, the next hardest part is obviously gonna be this, but once that's in, we're more or less done. At that point, we're just buttoning stuff up and hoping and praying that shit just slides right in. So without further ado, I'll set you up, get the new air box in, and we're good to go. So obviously we went ahead and we got the air box installed here. We had to fish the 13 mil through here, which was a little bit tricky to get started, but not bad at all. The hardest part that I just experienced, and I didn't expect it to be this hard, was the prongs that are on the bottom of said air box. Didn't seem to go in all the way, so I decided I was gonna do the 13 mil first and try to line like this stuff up and then push down. When I pulled out the air box, it had a pretty like, I don't know, audible pop, I guess, like it was locked in there. So I'm hoping I can get that done. If not, probably not the end of the world, but I'd rather do it right. So let me go mess around with that, and then we'll be installing that piece over there. And we are nearing the end, folks. Not a bad install at all. Just a little bit time consuming here and there getting everything assembled, but not difficult. So like I said, let me look at the air box and then we will continue on from there. Now that we have the MAF sensor in the intake tube, it's time to go grab the air filter here. So I believe what we're going to do is do something like this and then get it on in there. I'm gonna take two hands to do this. I know I keep saying that, but it makes it easier. Then from there, going to be doing something like this, attaching everything down, tighten it up, and we'll be good to go. One thing to keep in mind with the MAF sensor, if you can see it in there, because you have to install, or rather SMB gives you a rubber grommet here, you do not need to utilize the blue O-ring around the MAF sensor. Take it off, super easy, but I feel like if you don't, it could create a bad seal, and then your air, readings and stuff could be off, and then it's downhill from there. So now that we have the inbox and the intake piping in, first thing I want to say is, from the instructions, it says, put this in, and then put this in, and then attach or whatever. There's no way. I had to take this out, marry this up, because this doesn't just go in like a little bit. This goes in all the way so the air filter can actually attach. So I did it all together. It wasn't that hard to undo or anything, but I promise you, getting that thing together with all the shit in this right here region, not ideal. But anyway, we have all of the hose clamps done. We have the extended MAF sensor wiring to go to the sensor here. Zip tied this shit, that way it's not up against the hot engine. And now I just need to put these in, and then we'll glass in the top here. As I've said, guys, overall, not a bad install whatsoever. Hi, butterfly. It's just humid outside. A little bit of hiccups here and there, kind of similar to the bumper and the headlight install, right? Getting the bumper off and everything, it wasn't difficult. You just ran into a couple things that stumped you for a little bit, and then you were able to pretty easily get past it. So what I'm gonna do, let me wrap the rest of this up. I'll show you the end product. All right, y'all, that is going to do it for another episode of Gearbox. If you have any questions on the install process, drop them in the comment section down below. If you liked what you saw, give this video a big fat thumbs up. As always, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. Until next time, peace.